So thank you so much for being here, and we are going to go through the fundamental understanding of human design, and at the end, I am absolutely happy to answer questions.
I'll have them.
So what is human design? The human design system is a synthesis of ancient and modern science, and it's really for human understanding. It is not built on belief or faith, but is an empirical system that offers you the opportunity to experiment with its mechanics and find out if it works for you. And your human design is laid out with a graphic called either the body graph or the mandala. And we are the body graph. And I think that's the one piece that's really important for folks to understand, that every component of the body graph is part of what makes you, you. And the way our active gates are configured within a center determines how that center operates, how it's experienced within us, and how it interacts with the environment and with people around us. So there are 3 ways your center can be defined. It is completely open, which means it's all white and it has no dormant gates. It is undefined, which means it's white, but it does have gates highlighted, or it's defined, which means that particular center on the graph has a color. So when you have things on your graph that has color, those are the energy frequency that make up who you are on a consistent basis. And this is just a quick overview of the body graph and how to read it. On the right, you have what's in black, which is your personality. And that data comes from your birth date, time, and place. On the left in red, you have what is called your design, and that is 88 degrees before the time you were born. And that is your unconscious, that is your inherited patterns. That is the point in time where it is believed that your soul became one with your body. So when you look at the graph, you can see at the top, you know, the gate that's defined, which was gate 17 they have, and then it connects to gate 62, creating that whole channel. You have inherited, which is red only. You see where it's pointing out gate 21 from the will center. And then you see the conscious pattern black, where they highlight the black with the black and red. And so anytime something's black and red, it shows up in both your personality and your design. So it's something you're definitely aware of. And then the undefined gate, as they show you, is in a white area, and the gate is undefined, but you can also have undefined gates in the areas that do have color. So the bedrock of human design is about understanding your strategy and your authority. And strategy comes in essentially 4 different ways. There's the manifester, whose strategy is to inform, and they have what's considered a closed and repelling aura. There's the generator and manifesting generator. And for the intent of this conversation and understanding, as far as an aura goes, they have the same aura. And so their strategy is to respond. There are projectors who have a focused and absorbing aura, and their strategy is waiting for the invitation and to be recognized for what they're going to contribute. And then there's the reflector, who has a sampling aura. And a reflector is someone who does not have any colored centers in their chart, and they really are people who take in the entire world around them and give an accurate reflection of the health and vitality of the people and the environment around them. There are different kinds of authority. So the 2 things that for me are the bedrock for human design and why you want to know this is for your strategy and your authority, which both lend into proper decision making. So there, different kinds of authority are listed. There's emotional authority, and if you have a defined solar plexus, regardless of the type that you are an emotional authority. You can be a sacral authority, a splenic authority, a heart authority, a self authority, a no inner authority, which is also environmental, or you can be the projector that we talked, I'm sorry, the reflector that we talked about, who has to wait for their big decisions a full lunar cycle to really get the feeling for big decisions, what's right for them. So where they'll live, what kind of job they'll take, if they're going to enter into a relationship with the person, it's really reserved for them for the bigger decisions versus the day-to-day decisions. So to answer the big question, right? What can human design do for me? Because that's what people want to know. Why do I even want to know this, right? So it's about strategy and authority for decision making. And it's a mechanical way, it's a body way to make correct decisions from your body intelligence and not make decisions from your mind. So as much as people find this awkward or odd, your mind is not your real authority in life. Your mind is for inspiration and for processing thoughts and categorizing things and bringing you to deep understanding. But your decision making is never, not for any one of the types, is never in your mind. And when you follow your strategy and authority, you will find yourself in a pattern of making correct decisions. And that's the part that gets you into the correct aura and really brings about flow for all things in your life. And so the thing that we talk about is when you are doing things and you're not getting the results you want, or things are going wrong and you can't figure it out, it's called your not self. When you're being your not, so what on earth is not self, right? So the best way to understand not self is the places where we are open, where we have white, we are conditioned. Those centers take in and amplify the energy of the people around us. So that's our family, our community, our surround. So when we go to school, we're shaped by the energy of our teachers and our friends at school. When we're at home, we're shaped by the energy of our family around us. If you have a religious center or activities that you do, this is a normal part of how we interact with the world around us. We are around people. Our open centers take in that energy and they amplify it. The thing is when we are not entering into decision-making correctly, when we're using decision-making based on our mind, we are learning to make decisions based on what we think in our life experience and not really what's in alignment with what's right for us. And so when you're taking in those energies as you're growing up and you're learning things, so as an example, a person with splenic authority makes an instant decision. They know immediately if something is a yes or no for them. But we know as we grow up, our mothers always said, oh, wait, don't make an instant decision. You don't want to jump too fast. Why don't you give yourself some time and sleep on it? Don't be so hasty. But if your decision-making strategy is to make immediate decisions, you're completely just throwing your strategy out of the window. So those are the kinds of things, the way that we're raised and the things that we've learned to do put us outside of our strategy. So that's what the not self is. When you're making decisions and those decisions are not based in your strategy, those decisions are based on who you've learned to be because of your open center conditioning. And again, I want it to be really clear, this isn't a bad thing, right? We all have this. This is just a part of who we are and why we are the way we are. It's learning to step away from that and allow the right decision to emerge from the right place. So the white areas take in other people energetically. Those white spaces, receptive places, are where we meet and greet each other. And things feel this way or that way depending on many different mechanical things that happen when we meet. And so one of the things I will get into, which I think is exciting, is showing my chart with Emily's chart and how you create these electromagnetic attractions to other people based on what's in your design and what's in theirs, whether they know it or you know it at the time or not. So going back to the strategy, and you have a question? Okay, I saw you waving. Going back to the strategy, which is a reflection of your aura, right? And let's give a little bit about what not self would be. So manifestors, when they make a decision and they're going to do something, they need to inform. They need to know who they're going to impact by their actions and tell those people. And what they get from that is literally a clearing of the way. They're going to get the support of those people rather than resistance. And if you take action and you're a manifestor and you're supposed to be taking action, and you don't inform those people, they're going to feel ignored, they're going to feel run over, they're going to feel left out, and that's when you're going to run into roadblocks on your path because you didn't follow your strategy and inform people. Now, we live in a society of just do it, right? Everyone isn't designed to just do it. As a matter of fact, the only energy type designed to just do it is the manifestor. And so that really starts to inform why people are really frustrated in life, because everyone thinks they're just supposed to go out and pull up their bootstraps and make some stuff happen. And that's really fundamentally not how most people are designed. The largest group of people happen to fall in the generator category, which are generators and manifesting generators. And when they find themselves trying to initiate rather than respond, they find themselves in a lot of frustration. They meet a lot of resistance, and oftentimes just kind of throw in the towel and give up because they can't figure out why things are never working for them. So generators and manifesting generators are 70% of the population. So give some thought to like Nike and that brand, and 70% of people are not supposed to just do it. The next energy type is projectors, and projectors are really, the best analogy for a projector is a lighthouse. They stand on the shore, their light is shining brightly, and they're protecting all the ships coming in, making sure they make it safely to where they're supposed to go. And that is fundamentally what projectors do for generators and manifesting generators. And they have to learn that they need to be recognized for what they're bringing. And when they get the recognition and are invited to share, that's when things work out for them. If they are really pushing, they are going to, projectors actually get the feeling of bitterness. And they are not an energy type. They're not designed to work and go. And they really need to find a way to live in their strategy. Again, let's keep in mind, they're open in their sacral center. So if they're around people who have sacral energy, that go energy that generators and manifesting generators carry, they're going to take it in and they're going to amplify it. But they're only able to do that for short bursts of time, and then they're really going to need to rest. The final type is the reflector. And oftentimes people think of them as vulnerable, but I don't think that that's really the right way to think of them. They are probably the most resilient because their entire life is about taking in and receiving the energy at all levels and all centers from everyone around them. And they are what I would call humanity's canary in the coal mine. If the reflectors in your community are happy, thriving people, you are in a really good environment. If the reflectors in your community are depressed, unhappy, sad, miserable people, there's some stuff really wrong in their surroundings, whether it's work or it's home. These are people who really need to be someplace that makes them happy and be around people that make them happy. They're going to be directly impacted very quickly on a very visceral basis from their surroundings, because that's all that they do is take in the energy around them. So this is a basic overview of the themes of the centers on the chart. So at the top you have your head, which is pressure. It's a pressure center. It's one of two. The root is also a pressure center. It's about inspiration, questions, doubts, confusions. Next, we have the ajna, which is in traditional chakra system, the third eye. And it's about processing and conceptualizing, interpreting, answers and opinions, so on and so forth. Next, in the middle of the neck, you will see the voice, the throat center. So in the Human Design Center, the throat center is considered Rome, and all roads lead to Rome. The voice, the throat, is where we manifest from. It's where we speak things into reality. So all energy is trying to get to the throat. Next, we have the self, which is your direction in life, your love, your identity. It also carries your magnetic monopole and your higher self. The small triangle next to it is your will center, your ego, your material world. Only 15% of the population actually has willpower. The bottom left triangle is your spleen, and the spleen is the home of fear. And I don't even mean fear in a negative way. I mean fear in an instinctual survival of the species kind of way. It's body consciousness. It's tied to your health and your well-being, values, and the immune system. To the opposite side of that is your solar plexus, which houses your emotional state. It is your spirit consciousness, social awareness, abundance of spirit. In the middle, the box between those, is your sacral that holds life force energy. It is the power of fertility, it is vital energy, it is sexuality. And at the bottom is the other pressure center, and that is your root, and it is the home for adrenaline in your system. Each one of these, if it's an open center for you, has different ways that it will manifest things in your life if you are not living according to your authority and strategy. So this share is specifically my chart and Emily's chart and how we work together. So my chart is the one which should be on the left of your screen, that has the yellow diamond in the middle, and Emily's chart is the one on the right. And then our charts together, compiled, is the blue background body graph in the middle. And you can see, based on the colors and the things that show up, where our energies work together and what we're sharing. To make this really simple, I honed in on one specific area of my chart and her chart to show you where I have the gate 23 from the throat going toward the ajna, the third eye, and Emily has gate 43 going from the ajna to the throat. Together, we create that channel, and then by creating that channel, we also create a defined ajna, which operates differently than we normally operate when we're on our own. So it creates the channel of structuring, and it's about inspirations and spontaneous breakthroughs and empowerment and evolutionary change. And I think the part for me and Emily that was fun when we discovered where we linked up in human design was the fact that we have these phenomenal phone calls where we throw ideas back and forth with each other and come away, both of us, with phenomenal takeaways on things we can work on, and things make so much more sense. And we can specifically see that when we're together working on these things, this is why we get that extra jolt of, creative juice. So that is the end of the discussion on the basics of human design and how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the presentation and open this up to any questions that you may have.